Hello, this is Teresa. I'm back with a tutorial for Renea. I'll show you how to create this sign or photo prop. I'm going to be using this heavy chipboard from Cricut, which is 11 by 11 inches, and 12 by 12 silver starstruck foil is what I'll be using for my base layer. Now, I've already applied some score tape around the edges of this paper, and I will start to remove the backing paper, but I'm not going to remove it completely. That way it doesn't accidentally adhere down to something that I don't intend it to. So this just kind of makes the whole process a little bit easier. And once I've done the 4 different sides, then I'll put my chipboard right in the center, and then I'll peel away the rest of the backing paper one side at a time, and then wrap that tightly and securely around each of the edges. And I'll repeat the same process. You could try to use some heavy cardboard if you don't have chipboard. I just use this basically for ease of presentation. I already had this in my stash, and because it's nice and heavy, it's pretty secure and it's not too likely to bend or warp unless you really mistreat this. But any case, I need a stick for my sign, and I'm using some painter sticks, and I just bought that set from a hardware store for less than $1. I've painted one of my sticks silver. I'm using a hot glue gun to apply that to the back side of my sign. Now I am going to cover the back of my sign with silver foil, and instead of wrapping it around like I did the first piece, I've just cut this down to 11 by 11. I've added some score tape all around the edges of the sign, and then I'll just start applying by attaching down a couple of corners and then peeling away the backing paper just to keep this in line with the sign as I move along. The letters that I made for my sign were created using a Cricut machine and other foiled papers. I'm using the ebony gold glossy foiled foiled paper plus the gold foiled glossy paper, and I will share that Cricut file with you. This font that I used is called Extreme Fonts, and it's kind of that style that looks like what you'd see on a jersey, and it's nice and bold and has 2 layers to it, so that's why I chose it for this project. Now I've already glued together my Happy New Year, and I'm using a piece of paper to show you how I'm going to line up the letters on my sign. And I folded it twice in half twice, and then unfolded the paper and folded it half lengthwise. Now the reason I'm doing that is because my sign is already 11 inches, so by doing this allows me to cheat a little bit and not use a ruler, because I really hate having to measure and do that kind of thing. So this is my cheat for it. I'm lining up the top row so that basically the part of the letter, like say the bottom of the H or the A or any of those letters, I want that square edge to line up with the fold on the paper. So it's not really centered. And on the bottom, I'm kind of doing the opposite. You see where I'm pointing with my finger? I'm lining up the edges of my letters with that fold line. And in the center, I actually centered those letters there. Now, what you see me doing now is another little cheat, because after you go through all the work of lining up the letters like this, the last thing you want to have to do is repeat that process. So I'm using I'm going to be using this removable Post-it tape, and this is one of my favorite crafty items. I use it so many times for projects and it's at 2 inches. It is really helpful with lots of things. So now that I have basically my letters kind of out here on the side, and I can add my adhesive and then flip over that tape, and then it will hold it in place while that wet adhesive dries. And it does take a little bit of time for that to dry, and I have waited a while before I started peeling back the tape, by the way, even though it doesn't look like it when you're watching this video. But by leaving the tape in place, It makes sure that your letters are not going to shift, and then you can just very easily peel it back, and it does not damage the foiled paper at all. And there's that side, and I've already glued the letters on the back side, and that's my project for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.